Good morning everybody, I am Sarah with the trains and you find me here at Talabont station. It has been about a year since I was last here, but I'm ready to head off on another Welsh railway adventure along the Cambrian line, and our first stop of the day is going to be Llwyngwril. We have made it to Llwyngwril. Llwyngwril station was opened in 1863 by the Aberdyfi and Welsh Coast Railway. It originally had two platforms as well as a passing loop and a water crane. In 1940, the Great Western Railway installed a rock avalanche shelter over the line between Llwyngwril and Fairbourne at Freog Cliff because there were a lot of landslides basically, and in 1883 and 1933 there were fatal accidents. These were both caused by locomotives hitting the rock slide that had come down onto the track, and the locomotive going over the cliff and very sadly killing the crew. There were improvements made to the rock avalanche shelter in the 1970s. We actually went through the rock avalanche shelter on the way to Llwyngwril. As with a lot of the stations on this section of the Cambrian line, this is a request stop, so if you want to get off here, do make sure you tell the guard, although there were quite a few people getting on the train, so even if I'd missed the guard today, I would still have been able to get off, but I'm not taking that risk. As you can see from looking at the single platform we now have here, there is a Harrington hump. This was funded by the Welsh Government in 2016 because it's a low platform. And the guard actually advised me to get off the middle doors because of the drop at the both ends of the platform. We've got a trusty defibrillator at the station. In Welsh that's defibrillator. Yeah, I've got a master saying it in Welsh really. I just got to grips with English. Over on the other side of the line you can see the remains of the old second platform. You can also see a really lovely view, and there's this really cool knitted sign. There is still a station building here at Llwyngwril, but that is a private residence now. What there is for passengers is some waiting shelters, which are sort of inevitably for a seaside station getting a bit rusty. Although in this one we do have some lovely artwork, as well as this cryptic message. Which food is a lie? Delightful. Heading out of the station this way, you've got the little station car park. As well as that knitted sign, we do have a lot of knitted bunting as well. Oh, I've got to check. This will be my first Transport for Wales car park in charge check. Okay, so the sign for the car park says it's reserved to railway customers only, but it doesn't say it's pay and display. So it would seem that Llwyngwril car park is another freebie. Let's pop that on the league table. It's the first station in Wales to be there. Needless to say, Llwyngwril is joint top of the league table, tied with Shepperth, and Whittam is still the most expensive on £8. At this point we're really waiting for something to beat Whittam. As we walk out the station, I have noticed a theme developing. We have got a knitted mermaid and two dolphins. So turning left out of the station, that is a private road. However, I see a sign here that says to the beach. This way. I've only got a short amount of time before my next train, so we'll see how far we can get towards the beach. I'll be honest, I've got 10 minutes, it's not looking hopeful. So I decided to walk back because there's no way I'm going to get to the beach. I found this sign. Pedestrians, please use other footpath. There isn't another footpath. Oh, we do have a weak bridge, which means we may get a view of some flowing water if we're quick. I mean, you don't get views of flowing water just from a weak bridge, but it's a good indication that there may be something under the bridge. Also, I can hear a river. As much as I am being tempted by the little public footpath sign, it really is time to get back to the station. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Our next station of the day is going to be Mawddach. We have made it to Mawddach. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you may remember that back in the heady summer of 2022, I came here. However, I was not able to get a train from here because the train I intended to get was cancelled, and the trains on the Cambrian line are only every 2 hours. So, I have already done a history of the station, so I'm going to pop a link to that video up there, and we're going to have a little look round and see if there's anything different I can spot from last time I was here. Just as a very brief history, the station opened in 1865. It was opened by the Aberdyfi and Welsh Coast Railway as Barmouth Junction. It was renamed to Mawddach in 1960 under British Railways. From 1899 to 1903 there was a connection from Barmouth Junction, aka Mawddach, to the Arthog and Morfa tramway, or whichever way around those place names are. We'll double check. It was actually the Barmouth Junction and Arthog tramway. There was also a line here that went to Llwyngwril, but sadly that has been closed, and the old trapbed forms the Mawddach Trail. So we've still got just the one platform. We've still got the dot matrix display, which tells me that the Birmingham International train, which is the one I intend to get, is actually on time. Excellent. There is still the shelter. However, something is missing. This green patch used to be a payphone. Fun fact about that video. Is it fun or is it gross? I don't know. But I did most of the facts about the station then in voiceover. I had actually recorded all that stuff in the shelter here. However, when I looked back at the film, I discovered that there was a string of saliva in my mouth that looked disgusting. Therefore, I changed it to voiceover because I didn't want you to be grossed out. For some reason, I felt the need to tell you that. There we go. Let's have a little wander around outside the station and see what else there is here. I can't imagine it's changed all that much. But let's have a look. Well, it's raining, and last time I was here it was blisteringly hot. If I remember rightly, this gate screeches horrendously. No, it doesn't. Did they oil it? Or am I misremembering? Am I thinking of another gate? That sign for the Cambrian line's new. Pretty sure that sign is too. Now, out here in the car park, you may be able to see that there is what looks like a brick wall with grass on it. However, this is no ordinary brick wall thing with grass on it. It's one of the old platforms. Although it seems to me that they've neatened up the grass and the bushes a bit since I was last here. Now, this very definitely is new, the electric vehicle charging point. Electric vehicles weren't the massive thing that they are now a few years ago. The old toilets are still there. May have to check if they're just as iffy as last time. Walking up this way, because I didn't walk this way out of the station last time, I walked over Barmouth Bridge. So let's have an explore this way. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, Mawddach, another free car park. Oh, some lovely ponies. Hello ponies. A public footpath? Don't mind if I do. Yep, the weather has really turned on me. So it may have started raining horribly and I'm trying to take a bit of shelter under these trees. On the plus side, I did just have a dog run up to me with a harness that said pet me, so I gave them some pets. That's brightened my day in spite of the rain. Rain does seem to be easing off a little, believe it or not. I do have some good news as well. The toilets at the start of the Mawddach estuary, which were a bit iffy last time, they have been completely refurbished at some point in the last 3 years. There is now a Dyson hand dryer, there's soap, and you don't have to put your hand / top of your head on the door to keep it closed because there's a lock. Shortly we'll be getting on our next train of the day, which is going to take us to Tywyn. The wind isn't letting up though.
Wellington, Shropshire, Telford Central, Wolverhampton, Camp Wellington, Birmingham New Street, Birmingham International.
We are now at Tywyn. The original station at Tywyn was opened in 1863 by the Aberdyfi and Welsh Coast Railway. It was a little temporary station down by the Neptune Road Bridge, and this station where I am today was constructed a few years later. When it originally opened, the station name was Tywyn with an O, Towyn, but it was changed to Tywyn as it is today in 1975. There are two other stations in Tywyn. Tywyn Wharf, opened in 1866, and Pendra Station, opened that same year. These are both now part of the Tywyn Heritage Railway. As you can see, Tywyn still has 2 platforms. The station also has a passing loop so that trains can pass here. This is a point where the trains basically go each way at exactly the same time. So you can't really have a little bit here at Tywyn and swap over. You are here for a full 2 hours. In terms of access between the platforms, there isn't a footbridge. However, I've spotted down here that there is a barrow crossing. Whether this could be considered level access is debatable because obviously barrow crossings by their nature are a bit uneven. You've also got those gates at either end to negotiate, although the access is step free. With that in mind, let's go and have a little walk over to the Penhelig bound platform. As you can see, there are still station buildings here. These were derelict from the 1980s till the mid-2000s when they were refurbished as offices. I'm now going to head into the waiting shelter because the rain's starting to come down again. Thank goodness for this lovely big waiting shelter. From the dryness of the waiting shelter, I can see on the other platform there are some lovely mosaic artworks. So as I've got a little under 2 hours here and I'm really hungry, my intention is to go and get something to eat, find a little place to go and shelter from this horrendous weather. So with that in mind, and the fact that I don't want my camera to get wrecked by water because the rain is really rather torrential now, I'm going to stash my camera in my bag and go and find a little cafe. As you may have noticed, I just hopped off a train and I'm not at Tywyn anymore. I am in Tonfanau. The platform shelter was crowded at Tywyn, and it was chucking it down outside, as it still is now, so I just couldn't find a good place to film any final bits at Tywyn. Just a comment on Tywyn, both platforms have level access to each one. Tonfanau station was opened in 1896 by the Cambrian Railway. It did serve an army base near the station, but that is now gone. British Rail proposed closing the station as of May 1984, but it was saved with some minimal maintenance and the justification of educational trips and the occasional passenger. British Rail again proposed closing the station in the 1990s, along with Aberdyfi, Llandecwyn and Tywyn, which I visited previously, and I'll pop a link up in the top corner to videos about those stations. In the winter 1995 to 1996 timetable, there were 3 southbound trains and 1 northbound train stopping at this station, with the implication being that the service would be removed entirely in 1996. However, the Secretary of State for Transport refused the application to close this station. This meant that the station had to be upgraded to meet modern standards. Now we'll have a quick little look around from the waiting shelter to see what's here at Tonfanau today. As you can see, we've just got the 1 platform and a good old dot matrix display. Over there we have sheep, not technically a feature of the station, but I can see them. Down there, if you want to cross over the line, there is a barrow crossing and a self-operated level crossing with the appropriate telephone. A handy sign to show which way the trains are going. Off in the distance I can see some very derelict buildings. Are these the remains of the old army base I've heard of? So in spite of the weather being awful, when we were on the way here from Tywyn, I did see a really nice bridge over the Avon Diceni, and I would like to go and visit that. It's about a 14-minute walk back towards Tywyn, and I might just do it. I've got like an hour and 20 minutes still, so more than enough to go there and come back. But this does mean the camera is going to be stashed in the bag, because it's one thing me getting completely soaking wet, but electronic items getting as soaking wet as it would, nah, not happy with that. But hopefully the rain will ease off, I'll be able to get you a picture of the bridge. And here we have it, the bridge I told you about. I think we're about right to turn back now. So having been to see that bridge, I am back at the station trying to decide whether I want to go on and do another station on the line, or whether I want to go back to Talabont and get into some dry clothes and a cup of tea. For context, the rain on the walk to the bridge was that bad that it rendered my glasses useless, so I took them off and put them in my pocket. For perspective on how bad my vision is, it was okay because I was walking on a tarmacked footpath, but on the way back I saw what I thought up ahead was a person, so I thought I'd better put my glasses back on. Don't really know why. However, when I put my glasses back on, turns out it was a bin. So after some deliberation, I have decided I'm going to do some more stations. We're heading off to Aberdyfi. We are now at we have made it to Aberdyfi. As you can see here, Aberdyfi has a Harrington hump. Naturally, I neglected to get off the middle doors of the train, got off at the very front of the train and had a knee-jangling jump down onto the platform. The first station in Aberdyfi actually wasn't on this site. It was opened in 1863, and it was to the south of this site, on a little branch down to the harbour. That was closed, however, when this station was opened in 1867 by the Aberystwyth and Welsh Coast Railway. Although this station did originally have 2 platforms, there is just 1 now in use, and it is quite a lot lower than the level of the Class 158s that serve this line, so there's that Harrington hump. remember to get off the middle doors of the train if you stop here. As with a lot of seaside stations, there were some camping coaches situated here at times under the Great Western Railway, the Western region of British Rail and the London Midland region of British Rail. For anybody unaware, a camping coach is just an old railway coach that has been converted to be used like a little holiday cottage. Now let's have a little run round and run down of the facilities here at Aberdyfi today. On the side of the waiting shelter we've got the defibrillator, good old dot matrix, that all important Harrington hump. Over there amongst all those plants you can just make out the old platform that is no longer in use. Heading out into the car park area, there's a towel. There's information signs, including information about later services Monday to Saturday between Penhelig and Machynlleth. We also have some cycle parking. A sign confirming the car park is for railway customers only, but nothing to say about pay and display, so I'm guessing this is another free car park. We do still have the old station building, but this is now a private residence. So one thing about Aberdyfi is that it's quite close to another station on this line. So close, in fact, there's only about a 20-minute walk from here to Penhelig. We've got about an hour spare, so I'm going to head off to Penhelig and see what there is to see there. And then I think it will be time for us to get the train back to Talabont for some dry clothes and a cup of tea. Just as I'm walking off from the station, I've seen that over the other side of the line there is a static caravan park, which is accessed through the manually self-operated level crossing with appropriate phone. There's some really pretty houses here in Aberdyfi. Got some good old Arriva Trains Wales blue on that sign. Or is it turquoise? After a bit of palaver, I found the way to the station. Here we have it, Penhelig. Warning, it is not step-free access. After that lot of steps, we've made it to Penhelig. I can see my train to Penhelig is delayed. Just as long as that delay doesn't turn into cancelled, we'll be fine. Taking a bit of refuge in the waiting shelter here, it is lovely cream, green and red. Penhelig station is the youngest of the stations I visited today. It was only opened in 1933 by the Great Western Railway. It's on a curved section of track between two tunnels and it is above road level, so a little bit of a walk up some steps to get to it. So it like I say, it's not step-free access at all, unfortunately. From the 1st of January 2018 to the 30th of March 2018, this station was closed by Network Rail for improvements to be made. This included replacing the old timber platform with a new platform that's covered in glass reinforced plastic to reduce the need for maintenance. There were also improvements made to the tunnels at either side of the station. And during that time, Arriva Trains Wales provided a taxi service for passengers wishing to use this station. Now let's have a little look round and see what's here at Penhelig. The waiting shelter here is a Great Western Railway pagoda shelter and was restored in 2018. The dot matrix here was provided as part of the update to the station in 2018, and we just have this solitary platform. As I said, there is a tunnel at each end of the station. This one is heading towards Dovey Junction, and at this end we have the tunnel heading in the direction of Penhelig. I must say the station being so high up does give you a really nice view. You do also have this lovely view. Mainly a car park, but just focus on the trees. Just inside the pagoda again, I've just seen this on the wall. This looks like it's an old booking office type window. And when you go outside, if you look through this window, you can see what looks like a ticket office. Admittedly, there's a load of ivy in there now. It's just a little office. It looks down like there is still a pull-down window mechanism there. And down here, there seems to be all sorts of little old guidebooks from, I would say, the British Rail era, because I've got some from the British Rail era and they look about right. Yeah, I can see that one at the back says London Midland. Now, for a station as small as this, it is only a request stop, and the trains are only every 2 hours. I don't expect them to reinstate a booking office or something. It's just a shame that some of those documents are just sitting in there, and some of them look like they might even have been burnt. It's a shame that they're sitting in there, unfortunately, because I would like to read them, because that's the sort of thing I like to do. There is also an ice cream tub full of water in the pagoda, I'm assuming for dogs. Or extremely thirsty humans. One thing I would improve about the pagoda is probably a dot matrix in here, because I have to take all of 5 steps to go outside and look at the dot matrix to see that the train is still delayed. So the issue of the delayed train seems to have resolved itself, and it now says that it's on time. I had the sudden desire to find out how many people actually use this station, and I found out that in 2023/2024 there were 6,584 passengers that used Penhelig. So while I wait for my on-time train back to Talabont, it's just time for me to say thank you all so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do drop a like and maybe leave a comment and click subscribe if you want to see more from me. I'll see you all next time for another railway adventure. Bye. As always, an extra special thank you to all of my patrons and channel members whose names are on screen now, as well as everybody who donates to me on Ko-fi. You all keep this channel going. Okay, so it now is in fact delayed.